Security forces have reportedly fired tear gas at groups of anti-government protesters in the capital, Tehran. The protests come on one of the most important days of the year for the country's majority Shia Muslim population. Well, here are some of the latest pictures we have. Now, this one reportedly shows a dead man who was killed during a demonstration. And an Iranian opposition website says 4 people in total have been killed and shots were fired during the protests across the country. There have also reportedly been fierce clashes with security forces in a number of cities. Ashura is the climax of 10 days commemorating the death of the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, who was killed in the 7th century. Iranian authorities had warned opposition groups not to use this year's commemorations to revive anti-government protests that followed June's disputed election. Well, Sadeh Zibakalam is a political analyst at Tehran University. He says the protests come as no surprise.
The government wishes that everything becomes quiet and people get back to their work, to their jobs, and the situation becomes normal. And the government literally has done everything at its disposal to put the clock back, as it were, to before the election. But actually, it hasn't been very successful. As soon as people could find an opportunity, they gathered and they protest. They registered the protest against government. We saw that last week during the funeral of the Grand Ayatollah Montazeri last Monday, and hundreds and thousands of people gathered in the streets of Qom, the holy city of Qom. And no sooner that they gathered, the slogans were turned against the government. Today is Ashura, and also the 7th day after the death of Grand Ayatollah Montazeri, which traditionally the Shiite, after the 7th day, when someone dies, they gather pray for him or her. So on top of Ashura, we have the 7th day of the passing of Grand Ayatollah Montazeri.
Meanwhile, opposition websites are reporting that protests are spreading right across the country. They were first reported in the capital, Tehran, but they're now being reported in Tabriz, Mahabad, Ardabil, Babel and Ilam. Arak, Najafabad, Isfahan and Shiraz. Away from those protests, tens of thousands of Shia mourners are taking part in Ashura commemorations in Iran. Iran's state television has been showing these pictures of the mourning rituals in various parts of the country.